Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to VI Collaborative TV. I'm your host, Krista Melville. I'm a chaplain, spiritual advisor, and master coach. I'm also a retired nurse and a birth and labor doula. So, on today's topic, I would like to address how we can rebuild and get over this economic downturn, how we can bounce back. And this is really easy. It's not as hard as we think. And the reason why I know that is because in my entire lifespan, I have been able to see our people bounce back. Now, we can't bounce back if everyone doesn't get involved. We can't simply rely on the government to fix every problem. Because you know why? The government are the people. We're the ones that elect leaders to manage our business. We're the ones that's really benefiting or not from effective leadership. If there's no community, there are no leaders. We're the government. Because at the end of the day, every person elected is also a citizen, a father, an educator, whatever it is. So just to state that everything that's going on now in the community is the government's fault, past or present, it's really hypocrisy, because the way we spend money, the way we educate our children, the way we train our children, the way we treat one another, everything begins in the home. Everything begins within the four walls. Everything begins and stays in the community. What we put in is what we get back from it. I'm sure you can agree. Forgive me, I'm suffering from allergies right now. It's allergy season, so forgive me if you see me, whimpering a bit. But what I would like to say is this. In 1989, St. Croix and St. Thomas, the whole VI, experienced one of the most devastating storms, and that was Hurricane Hugo. St. Croix was practically left for nothing. Okay, that hurricane had tornadoes in it, and I never saw such devastation in my life. They are various natural disasters that happen all over the world that were probably on the same scale or worse. But I'm speaking from what I experienced and what some of you experienced who were there at the time. And we bounced back. Of course, it was a different time in the world overall. It was a different country as a whole and as a territory. We had different leaders. Different people were around really rallying and fighting the good fight. But we can still do that today. We just have to get back to that mindset. We just have to realize that there's a bigger picture here, that we all will have to give account for what we do or don't do. Again, as I spoke about in some of the previous videos, we have to train our children right. We have to instill that sense of responsibility in them from very young. We have to teach them about finances, about how the value of money, how to spend it. Time management. What we do with our time is so important. Instead of having or being on social media all through the day, or having our children playing video games all through the day, or as soon as they come home from school, instead of doing their homework or giving them leeway to go outside and go to the neighbor's house or go down the street, get in trouble, while you're looking at a soap opera or you're hustling. These children need to be accounted for. And children are really our source of wealth. The wealth is really in people. Because God gave man the ability to get wealth. Money wouldn't have value if you don't have people to spend it, or if there isn't a need. If the world didn't have human beings and money was just sitting there, nothing's going to happen to it. So we're the ones that put our value on the money, because there's supply and demand. There are needs that need to be met. And it even says it on the bill. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. So it's a legal tender. I pay you for a service or a product that I need. So if I don't have a need, I don't come to you. You don't make money. Does that make sense? So we need to go back there in those primitive thinking. We've gotten so, we're so, the knowledge of man has increased so much that we know so much until we know nothing. There's the pride of life. Everyone's so prideful. I'm a this, I'm a that. Nobody's listening to one another. We're not identifying the needs of the people. And I didn't say wants, I say needs. Of course, you're not going to always get what you want all the time. That's another thing. We have to grow up. It's sad to say, but most adults tend to have a childlike mentality. We want what we want now. You can't have everything you want all the time. You can have it sometime, but not all the time. Life is about give and take. We have to teach this to our children. Because if we don't, they're going to think that they can get everything that they ask for when they want it. And if they don't get it, what are they going to do? They're going to steal or kill for it. You don't want that. If we don't teach our children at a young age the value of money, and also how to do without, because they can't have it then, they will steal. They will do whatever they need to do. They will conjure up whatever they're conjuring up to make the money. Nowadays we have this mentality, you have to do what you have to do by any means necessary. Now, it even sounds bad. Okay, so we have to do a better job of instilling these values in our children at a very young age. That's where it starts, guys. I'm sorry to keep going back there. Everything starts in the home. And even as adults, we need reminders of that. And that's why I'm doing these videos. We need reminders. We have the answers. Now, the problem is not everyone will like them. Not everyone will agree. And that's because people have different agendas. Oh, yes. Some people don't care. You have to look at that and really analyze it. Okay, some people, they don't have a vested interest. Why do they care? Why do they not care? And it goes without saying that you always have to know your opponent. You always have to get to know the people that are against you. Do your research. Why are they against you? What place are they coming from? Do they have a personal vested interest in the community? Do they? Let me take you on this journey. I can do so many things. I've learned to do so many things, but it doesn't mean that I must do everything. People ask me, well, why are you here? I told you why I came out here. I came out here to learn what the world has to offer. I came out here for opportunities to educate my children, some that weren't there locally. I did have a child with special needs as well. I wanted to learn how to run a healthcare facility to take care of the elderly the right way. So I came out on a mission. So many people have asked me, so you left the Virgin Islands, all that sun, sand, and sea? I'm like, yeah, I left so that I can grow up. Sometimes you have to go out to grow up. Sometimes where you are, people don't give you that breathing room. Sometimes people only see things a certain way, and that's the only way. But if you don't educate yourself and spread and grow, you can't really make a positive impact. Things will just stay the same, and things can't stay the same because times are changing. So we have to change with it, but that doesn't mean you compromise who you are. If that makes sense. So, and there's also a saying that a prophet is never accepted in their own country. And I also experienced that. You know, even being on social media, people, and even when I was there physically, and as people watch you grow, they don't like that. I'm sure many of you could agree. People want you to stay the same. They want you needy and dependent. They kind of don't, but they still don't want to see you grow. People are confused. What can I say? But yeah, so and then when I was lending my 2 cents, people are like, oh, you're somewhere in some lofty desk. Why do you care? I'm like, you don't know where I'm at. You don't know what I'm doing. You know, you should be glad that someone cares. And that's the problem. You know, people don't know who to honor, who to listen to. People don't accept help because they want things to be done the way they're doing it. So how can we have change if you're doing it the same way? Or if you just take from a certain pool of people, how can you really have effective change that would affect the masses? So we need more representation of different kinds of people there. Not just the same people all the time. You know, and again, you always have to detect where a person is coming from. Why did they have such a vested interest? Excuse me. I'll be honest that growing up, some of the things that was said is, you know, especially towards people that are of another race, you know, namely Caucasians. People were wondering, you know, well, you all just coming down and taking over the beaches, or you owning all the restaurants and everything, or the businesses, and why do you care, you know? And you know what? Most of the times that I saw that these people actually took better care of the islands. They loved it for the beauty, the naturalness of it, and they wanted to invest in it. You know, so why couldn't we see their perspective? Why couldn't we be convicted by it? Why couldn't we learn from it? You know, we don't always have to be opposing. You know, and in every race and nationality, there are going to be people who are corrupt. There are going to be people who don't really have the best interests of the Virgin Islands at heart. Even people who were born there. So it's really about discerning. It's really about discerning what's really best for the people. Sometimes it is the leadership. Sometimes it's the way everything is conducted. Sometimes it's who is in the ear of the leader. You know, sometimes it's who is behind all of the different modes of communication, how things are said. You know, and in biblical times, leaders, they had advisors. They had a prophet that would come to share, and this was, you know, that's the way how they did it, and they were successful. I don't know who is advising the leaders now on a spiritual level. This is needed. You know, we can't just rely on what we know, what we learned in school, our experiences. You know, we need help, and we need to accept the help when it's being offered. So bouncing back from this economic downturn is not as hard as we think. It's really discerning the right answers. It's discerning the timing. We're seeing a change. We actually now have to sacrifice for all of the mismanagement now. We have to pay a price because we weren't careful managing what we had. We didn't appreciate what we had. So now we have to pay the price in some respects. And that may continue for a while, as well as it may not. Life, everything comes in stages and phases. So we have to roll with it. We have to understand what needs to be done. But again, we have to come together as a people. We have to have these open discussions. We have to talk about the real issues. We have to. And we have to do so respectfully. We have to let every voice be heard without condemning, without being offensive and defensive. So it's really about respect, and being sensitive to the people, to their needs. So I wanted to give a testimony. I said I would be doing that throughout the week. And I wanted to testify and give a memoriam about a time I think I mentioned when we went through Hurricane Hugo. And I wanted to bring to light one of our former senators and current host of Straight Talk with Redfield, former Senator Holland Redfield, who is also a spiritual friend. And I wanted to share how impacted I was by his talk show immediately after Hurricane Hugo. He stepped in immediately. His voice was a beacon for change and to help us rebuild. And just on a personal level, I felt him on a personal level. I remember sitting on my porch with my mother when she was alive, and we would be looking at the night flies lighting up the sky because it was dark, pitch dark. We didn't have electricity for an entire year where we lived, and I would hear his voice. He would talk about, he would give us updates, on what was happening and reminding people to obey the curfew. And just really being so encouraging and uplifting. And I wanted to thank him publicly for that. Hope he's listening to this. And just continue doing what you're doing, sir. There's so much you can do because as a people, we have to come together. We can't just be fearful about the future. We have to take the future in our hands. Fear actually helps us in a way because it helps us to know that we need to change. We have to do something. Sometimes we just have to pray about a situation. We have to stand and wait. But oftentimes we do have to take action, and even praying is an action. Having patience is an action, but we need to talk. So I do appreciate his show, Straight Talk with Redfield. I want him to know that now while he's still alive. We had so many other great talk show hosts in the past, like the late Fred Clark. We had Alvin James. We had our late Dr. Randall James, my cousin, and a well-known and devout OBGYN, a humanitarian, and from a senator. We had so many other leaders in the community that held us together. They step outside of their profession and they use their voice to bring us together. So getting out of this slump is really about us coming together as a people, discussing the issues, meeting the needs, not the wants, the needs. Yeah. So I think that should be our approach. It's not as hard as we think. And by prayer and supplication, let's make our requests known to God. And what I feel that we mainly need is we need peace. We need peace within ourselves. We can't want peace in the community if we don't have it in ourselves. That's what we need more of. Peace within ourselves. We have to change us. Then we'll see change in the community. So thank you so much for listening today, and I'll see you in the next video as we continue this week-long video series celebrating 100 years as U.S. Virgin Islanders, and the official launch of the VI Collaborative TV. And I will be coming with more videos and teaching on an ongoing basis. I look forward to that. This is my partially my way of giving back. I would like to give back more. I would like to use my services there. I have no problem speaking at schools, your churches, in the public arena. It doesn't matter. I'm here for you. I'm your servant, Crystal Melville. Thank you for watching today, and I'll see you soon. Bye now.